years ago, I went back to Saskatchewan where I grew up, a village called Teulon. While there, I met a fellow I went to high school with, Adrian, who had married my cousin Jeanette. And during the wedding, Adrian came up to me and he said, "Hey, you got some time? Can I talk to you?" And I said, "Sure." I said, "Let's go for a walk." And we walked down the road and chatted. He said that he and Jeanette had been married for several years, but in the last couple of months, she's had some sort of religious experience, and he said it has turned her into a totally different woman. He said all the changes have been for the better, but he said, "I just couldn't figure it out." And he said, "You're a pastor. Maybe you can help." I had previously talked to Jeanette just a while before, and she had told me how she had come to know Christ. Somebody had given her a tract at work telling about Jesus and accepting him. She said she took that thing home, she read it, and she said there was this emptiness in my life, and she said I had a prayer there to pray, and I prayed that prayer, and she told how Jesus came into her life. Well, Adrian had seen this in her life, and he saw this 180 change in her, and that's why he had come to ask me. And so I went on to describe it. Here's what's happened. And I described the plan of salvation to Adrian. I said how that Jeanette realized she had sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And she came to that place where she opened the door of her life and asked Jesus to come in. And when Jesus came in, he makes your life different. He transforms you. You come from darkness to light. And I described that to him. So I said right there, I said, "Adrian, would you like to pray and ask Jesus to come into your heart right now?" And he said yes. And right then and there, he prayed. About a year later, I went back to Saskatchewan, and I met Adrian, and I chatted with him. I said, "How's it going, since you accepted Christ?" And he said, "Henry, let me tell you a story." He owned a trucking company hauling gravel. And he said one day I had my truck, and I was waiting for the loader to load the truck. It's a nice spring afternoon. The sun was shining, about early March, and the cab of the truck was warm. And he said I had a six-pack of beer beside me. And while I was sitting there and waiting, I decided I opened up one of the bottles of beer and began drinking it. I drank one beer, and then I opened up the second one, drank two, drank three. And he said, as I was drinking, I was looking for a particular feeling. Then when I got to the fifth bottle, there it came. He said, "Henry, since I asked Jesus into my heart last summer, I have that feeling all the time now." A few years ago, we went back to Saskatchewan for a family reunion, and Jeanette and Adrian were there. I talked to Adrian about this experience, and he said to me, "Henry," he said, "that conversation you and I had that afternoon changed my life." What had happened is this. Adrian had gone from darkness to light.